Hello.
Hello.
That's weird. I've got absolutely no car sound, but you guys can hear me. So I'm just going to try and fix it whilst they're on their outlap. Ah, there we go. Perfect. Haha, Felix is out of qualifying already. Oh, well. Let's join an AlphaTauri, see if we can see what's happened to him. Anyway, welcome to Division 3 DTR Season 5 Round 3. We're in Singapore. Glad to have you watching. And it's great to see Felix in the bin already. I don't know what he's done on the straight. But anyway, we will join Shiva because he will be the first to start his... Oh no, he won't. He's just not the first out. Got an Alpine. Where's the Alpine? Is that Rob's? Stuart. Cool, so we'll start with Stuart. We'll jump on board with him. I'll take you around the Singapore circuit with Stuart. And then we'll catch up and see how everyone's getting on. So, through turn 1, turn 2. Low traction zone this, so you've got to straighten the wheel up before you get on the power. And then a right-hander into the first long straight where you get DRS, so his wing is open. And of course we'll go purple in the first sector. He's the first car to set a time. And he moves through sector 2, which is a load of 90-degree bends before a little straight. And it takes you onto the bridge section, which is a little bit windy. Got to be careful on the entrance to this corner. You can clip that orange barrier if you're not careful. And then you've got to miss that curve, not to unsettle the car, and that one ideally. And then a nice little hairpin off the back of the bridge. And down the second straight, which will give you DRS. Again, you see the wing open. Now you start the third sector, which starts with a tight right-hander, and then again you get a little sort of S section. And this next part here that takes you through a bit of a tunnel under the grandstand. Great to watch. Probably won't see too many overtakes in there, and if you do, it doesn't normally end well, to be honest. And again, just a couple more S bends before you get round to the last sort of double left-hand corner as Stuart lifts off to set his first time of the day, a 1:37.9, pretty good time. I think they can go a little bit faster than that. But who was next over? It's an AlphaTauri. Let's jump on board with the Mercedes because they've got a little bit further to go. So we'll jump on with Huss. Sheepa takes pole with a 37.9. And we're starting to see some more times flooding now. Evan with a 38.4. Bassett with a 38.7. So we'll talk a little bit about Huss. He had a great start in Bahrain. We'll be disappointed that he didn't pick up any points. After sort of picking up some damage after a late safety car, as he puts it in 6th with 140, he'll definitely go quicker than that. His teammate Rika, not too much quicker, 1:39.9. Both of those two are definitely capable of more than that. So they will go out again for sure. But yeah, Huss be disappointed he didn't pick up more. He didn't pick up more in his first race. We've got an AlphaTauri. Let's see if we can jump on board. And he's got a Haas right behind him. And I think Kalitsos, is that how you say your name? Not sure. Comes around in 9th. I think he's one of our reserve drivers for tonight. We've got a full grid, so I'll try and take you through who the regular drivers here are. Let's have a jump on board with Robsu, who will be the next to start a fast lap. Gets out of his teammate's way. Stuart, who we saw, will be coming back into the pits. In fact, not Rishi's on a lap, so he's just put in the fastest second sector, and he's just about to finish the third sector. Rishi is a reserve driver, but he is a quality driver. And I think I was going to put my money on anyone today, as long as he doesn't get all this traffic in his way as he tries to finish his lap. I'd put my money on Rishi, I think. He's quick. He's got a sensible head on him, makes good decisions. And just tends to be a thorn in your side. Whenever I've raced him, we've had some good battles, and he has put it on pole with a 37.7. I think he is he's capable of going quicker than that as well, I think. so we will see him chuck in another time at some point. Wazza is on an outlap. He's a reserve for tonight. Let's jump on board. Rob Soup said we'd watch him. He's just coming down the back straight. He puts in the fastest first sector of the race so far, and he was making some brilliant progress on F1 2021. Struggled to adapt to this game, but recent weeks started to pick up a bit for Rob Soup. Become less accident prone, so we'll see some good things from him tonight, I'm sure. As he taps the barrier there on the way out of the tunnel section, and he comes around to start the third sector. Nice and aggressive. Again, he's using the curbs well. Have to be careful with that curb, just spit you out. There's a slightly raised part of that curb you have to be careful with. Does well to keep it out of the wall there. And again, just clipping those apexes. Looked like a really clean lap so far. Don't know if it'll be enough for pole, but it's been a solid lap. It's a 39.0. Puts him up into 8th. Who can we jump on board with next? There's a Red Bull flying round. Let's go to the other Red Bull of Nicky Lauda. I think he must be on a hot lap, just putting in the fastest second sector. And he's now coming through the same section. Again, rotating the car really nicely, keeping the momentum into the corner. Again, I don't think this is going to be a pole time, but it'll be up there. Really cautious around that final corner. Ends up being a 38.9, so he takes the 8th position off Rob Soup. Who else have we got? We have a McLaren. We'll call him Arthanios, because I have no idea how to pronounce his name. He hasn't corrected me yet, so I'm sure he's happy with it. We'll jump on board with him for his third sector. Again, everyone seems to have been quite clean around here so far, hitting apexes, using the curbs well. It's not shifting the balance of the car too much. Again, I don't think this is quite going to be a pole time, but it's going to be pretty good. 39, so that's enough for 11th. Let's see if there's anyone else. Man like Donkey looks like he's on a hot lap. And again, just seeing people come through this third sector. What time can he post? Not Rishi, our pole sitter, is now back on an outlap. And Waz has actually stuck a time in there. I didn't see that, 1:37.9. Evans up there with a 1:38.4. Alex, pretty solid driver, 1:38.6. And Man Like Donkey does enough to get into 16th. Someone else has just put a time in. Didn't see who it was. I think it was Guna with a 38.7. Little Mikey's on his outlap. Dark Norbert's in the pits. They're the only two that haven't put a time in yet. Who at the top has... Is Alex on his way in? Could we... Let's see what his ERS is like. Yeah, I think he might be on a hot lap. He's got his wing wide open. And he's a 10th up. So a good start to the lap. What will a 10th give him? He was staying 6th with a 10th of gain. But he's got 2/3 of the circuit left to try and improve on that. Carries plenty of speed through it. Got to be careful touching that curb. It can throw your car out, but he's done well. And it's about slowing it down, but carrying enough momentum around that corner. He's done that really well. And that's flat out with your wing wide open for a heavy braking zone. And now he starts sector 3. Didn't see whether he'd made any more time. I've just missed it as the split went. So if we've got a car and it's a McLaren, just a bit stuck. Obviously broke a bit too late. Decided not to put it into the wall and went straight on. So we'll jump on board with little Mikey once Alex comes round here. I think it's going to be close. Don't quite going to be pole, but it's close. It's a 1:37.8. He's put it in second, right behind his teammate Rishi. Let's see if... oh, and that was Rishi actually that had gone round. I think he was going to start his flying lap, but we'll join little Mikey. He hasn't posted the time yet, so let's see what he can do. He's just completed sector 1. He's managed to get back on the game a bit more recently. I think work's kept him out of the game for a while, but doesn't look like he's lost any of his ability anyway. Carries lovely speed through the hairpin there. It's not easy to keep the momentum up there. You have to get the car turned and slowed down. But a couple of drivers we've been on board with tonight have done it really, really well. We'll just change the camera angle, but it's not easy around Singapore. You don't get the best of views like that. So we'll jump on board. So now goes through the grandstand. Comes around to finish the final sector, and where is he going to place his car? It's not going to be pole, but I'm going to say he's top 10. Oh, and he spun out on the last. Oh, didn't quite make the line to post the time either. He's going to have to sit there and wait for these cars to come past. Oh, risky. We got away with it. So Mikey will have to go again. He puts in a 1:52. I think he'll improve on that, if I'm honest. I think he'll do a bit better. Let's see if Rishi... No, he's going to come in. I think he must have done some damage spinning it. TJL Stewart, what can he do? He's been a top driver so far this season. One in Abu Dhabi, and he puts it back on pole at 37.4. So 3/10 ahead of Rishi. I think Rishi, I can't see how much time there is left because we've got yellow flags. And is it Mikey? It is Mikey. Having a mare. But he gets it turned round. Luckily doesn't beach it. Dark Norbert still in the pits. I wonder if he's saving soft tyres. There's only 4 minutes, so people are going to have to get back out. I think TJL Stewart might have put his last lap in now. We haven't seen Wardy today. I think he's up in 11th. And it's another guy that's made some real big improvements this year. So we can expect some good things from him. So close to that barrier, it's perfect. Just carried enough momentum without clipping the wall and causing damage. Just stays away from that inside curb. It's sensible. It can spit you out. And again, another person that's doing a good job of carrying some momentum around that hairpin. You can lose as much as 3/10 if you get it wrong. And he's put in a purple second sector, so it shows you how neat and tidy he's been so far. Will it be enough for pole? Let's watch the end of sector 3 and find out. So he turns left through the grandstand. Oh, and the curb just pushed him out, and it's topped his wheel off, and so unfortunate because he was definitely improving. And Kalitsos has managed to invalidate. Robsu has just come over the line. Let's see where Nicky Lauder is. He's coming through the third sector, and this is where Wardy's car is. Yeah, he's had to get off the gas because he's seen the yellow flag. So Robsu it is then. Can he get into the 38? We'll see if Stewart manages to come back out. Rishi's not come back out, interestingly. And he's now on an outlap, so we'll have to push quite hard on his outlap to get round in time. It looked like Robsu's rear tyres looked like they were fading away from him, but he kept them in check, and again, he's done a great job of getting out of that hairpin. We've got a lot of drivers now on their final hot lap. Robsu will be the next to finish, I believe. Let's see what he can get, and then we'll jump on board with one of those Red Bulls who will be the next to come across the line. Dark Norbert's still in the pit. Wonder if he's got a quali ban. Didn't check that, but Robsu does make it into the 38s. He's 3/10 up, puts him up into the top 10. That'll be his last run. Man like Donkey, he is now going on a flying lap, I believe. Where's the other Red Bull? Here's Nicky Lauda. 5/10 up, that's good. So that would put him into P8 if he maintains that through these last few corners. And it does put him in P8, so good from him. Robsu goes down to 10th. Guna knocked out of the top 10. But he is still on an out lap, or is still on his hot lap, and Rika's invalidated, and he's going to go and push for his final lap on probably used tyres. Guna, one of our reserve drivers from Division 4, but don't write him off. He's won almost everything in this game. He's another one that makes good decisions. He's a good driver in the race, and we've missed Alex putting it on pole with a 37.0, so good work from Alex. He's taken nearly a second off his first time, so he's really hooked that up. Rishi is probably the man that we're going to look at to try and beat that time, as Guna does put in a purple second sector. We'll jump to Rishi once this has happened to see if he can nick that pole position, but he looks like he's hitting some traffic, so hopefully it's got out of his way. Here comes Guna now, coming around the final bend. Has he managed to keep the momentum around the whole lap? Nice and aggressive through that last corner, and it ends up being a 1:38, puts him into the top 10, knocks Robsu out. Marshmallow's out of the top 10 as well. Rika, we saw, was just going over the line, so let's see if Rishi is up and whether he can nick that pole position back. He's currently sat in 4th. Bassett's put in a good lap on a 1:37.5, puts himself in 3rd. Evans finished now at a 1:37.7. Sheba and Wazza, the timing board is suggesting they're still going. Nicky Lauda, I think we saw him put his last time in, so he probably won't improve. Rika will improve. He went out for his final run with about 20 seconds left on the clock. So Rishi coming through the final sector now. And it's saying is that timing sheet right? 2 minutes? Is he going to pull in the pits there, or is that timing line wrong? Let's see what it comes up with. So 1:37's not improved this time. Sheba improves, and Wazza improves, and knocks Rishi down to 6th. Let's join, I think Rika would have been the last, but he has now finished, so that is going to be your order, I think, unless Marshmallow can put in a time here. So interesting, Dark Norbert didn't come out and Marshmallow is going into the pit, so that will be your order. Congratulations to Alex, putting yourself on pole. And you had a good fight in Bahrain from memory of the first race. You and Stuart were going at it for quite a long time. Bassett, I think he's just taken over a permanent seat in the league, so congratulations to you. Puts in a 1:37.5. Wazza in 4th, who is a reserve for this league, I believe. Sheba in 5th, not Rishi, who's a reserve, in 6th. Evan with a 1:37.7 in 7th. Not too much between the field really in terms of time. Guna stuck in 8th in the end. Nicky Lauda in 9th. And just to finish that off, we've then got Huss in 10th, Marshmallow in 11th, Robsu 12th, Athanius in 13th, Wardy 14th, Some drivers that can definitely expect more from in the race. Rika, Man Like Donkey, Kalitsus, Lil Mikey, Felix, who didn't even get to set in an out lap, and Dark Norbert, who didn't go out on track. So wondering if he had a quali ban maybe, or just decided to save a load of soft tyres. Could have been that. But I'll take my opportunity to update you on the standings and what happened in the previous races as the guys go around in their formation lap. Doesn't look like any rain about. Not sure if it's forecast. Haven't had an update from the drivers. But just while we're waiting for the drivers to come out on track and set their strategies for the race, just to remind you, so Maggott is actually leading the championship with 37 points. He got a fourth in Bahrain, first in China. I wasn't here for the China race, so China's not an easy track, but from what I saw from him in Bahrain, he's got a lot of pace. Just has a few mistakes in him, but I don't think I've seen him on the grid tonight. I don't think I've mentioned his name, so may not be top come the end of the day. Wardy in second with a third and a fourth. He had a solid race in Bahrain, took advantage of the late safety car to put himself on the podium. TJ Stewart won the first race, 15th in China, so looks like he had a bit of a struggle in the second race. Nicky Lauda, 7th in Bahrain, came third in China, so again a great podium for him. Kazingal, who I haven't seen him here tonight either, 12th in Bahrain, after being right up there in the early stages, came second in China, not here tonight. So we'll probably drop out of that top five. We've got Bassett, who came second in Bahrain, didn't race in China. He's in third currently on this grid. Rika came ninth in Bahrain, fifth in China. He is in seventh place in the standings. Charlie F1, our coordinator, he's not here tonight. Didn't look like... sorry, I missed Guna. So Guna reserved and came fifth in Bahrain, didn't race China. He's here tonight. He loves to win a league that he reserves in. Charlie, who's not here tonight, 6th in Bahrain, 16th in China, and then just finishing off the top 10, Arthanios, 13th in Bahrain, 6th in China, and then a few more with some points. And I think there's a few people that to mention really that you would think would be a little bit higher in the standings and will probably make amends for it tonight. And first one I'll mention is Huss. Had a brilliant race in Bahrain, completely in control until the safety car came out. Picked up a bit of damage, and that was really the end of his race. So watch out for him. He'll make his way through the field. Who else have we got down here? Sheba has got bundles of pace. He's definitely got a mistake in him. So if he can keep it on track, he'll do well. This race is generally one where you can, if you could just keep your car intact, stick around to the end of the race, and you're probably going to pick up points. I'll be very surprised if we didn't see 10 cars eliminated tonight. As Alex going through the grandstand there, nearly puts it straight in the tyre wall, but keeps out of it. We'll continue to go around and warm his tyres up. So watch out for Huss, watch out for Rika, watch out for Wardy. Felix definitely shouldn't be down in 19th place. Even Arthanios, Robsu, Huss, they're all more than capable of being in that top 10. So let's wait and see what the night brings us. But one thing I will guarantee you is there'll be some good racing from these guys. Generally, it's good, clean racing. It's not the easiest of tracks, but good luck, everyone. And the last driver, Dark Norbert, is just lining up on the grid, and we'll start to see some lights. As you can see, Stewart is pointing right at Alex to try and cover him off into turn one. He is pointing pretty drastically. So, lights. We're still waiting for him. Here we go. 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And they're out, and Stewart looks like he's got off to a flying start. Alex may have got a little bit bogged down. I don't think he's going to make it. No, he's getting overtaken by more than one car. So Stuart Bassett up into P1. and everyone looking well behaved behind. So TJL Stewart takes an early lead in this race, which is massive for the championship. He won in Bahrain, and we've got some all those battles a bit further down the field. We've got Rishi side by side with Nicky Lauda, but Rishi's, I think, is going to come out on top here because he's got the inside line, but Nicky Lauda tries to hang it around the outside. It looks like he went off the track to try and get that place, so wonder if he'll get an illegal overtake. Yeah, he does slow down to let Rishi pass, so but it has put Evan onto the back of him, but I think he just got squeezed out, and now Nicky Lauda just pulls in front of him to cover that place off. So Huss looks like he's up a place, Wardy looks like he's up a couple of places, Robsu's dropped back slightly, Rika's made up a couple of places, Gooner's dropped outside the top 10, Little Mikey and Dark Norbert have made their way up the field, and Felix struggling at the back, 7/10 back, so I don't know if something happened to him early on. But we've got a nice race set up here. Rika looks quite close to Robsu, but can't make the move on the outside. Robsu just holds on to that position. So some good, clean battling so far, and I did say to them all that if there were no safety cars tonight, I'd get them all a new Fanatec, but I wasn't specific on what that was because I'm not minted. I can't afford to buy everyone a new wheel. So Stewart puts in the fast lap of the race. He's gone over the line in first, so it's likely Nicky Lauda's putting some pressure on Rishi early on. This could be the battle to watch. Stewart's already pulled out a 1.5 second gap on Bassett. Alex is 8/10 back from Bassett. And Wazza's holding on to the back of Alex, and Sheba's doing the same to Wazza. So Rishi has dropped off the back of Sheba. He's 1.5 seconds, maybe more now, behind. So as Nicky Lauda puts out a little fake move on Rishi, wasn't falling for it. Wazza seems to have closed up to Alex. Let's just sit on board with him. And Alex will be really disappointed after that qualifying, putting a beautiful lap, and just couldn't quite hold on to the position. As Wazza uses quite a lot of curb there, and you can see how it just spits the car out, really pushes you out wide, and lost a bit of momentum. Let's just seeing the tyre wall on his car. Actually, let's check the tyre situation. And Bassett will be laughing at his situation. He's gone on the hard tyre early on, and he's up into second, so got off to a lightning start on the hard tyre. Rishi's on the hard tyre as well, so actually that second gap that we were talking about is probably not the end of the world, considering the tyre he's on. Evan and Huss also went for hards, Robsu went for hards, and then the back of the field, Urban and Felix really are all on the hard tyre, so trying something different to try and propel them up the standings if there's no safety car, and Stewart puts in the fastest lap of the race again. So some interesting strategies. We'll see how that plays out as the race goes on, as we've got Robsu and Wardy having a bit of a fight. Robsu gets through on the straight, and Huss has made his way through. Oh no, he was in ninth anyway, sorry, but Wardy looks like he's had a spin. Where is he? Is that turn 2? Yeah, just the pit line. I wonder if and there's no wing there as well. I must have had an incident with someone. Dark Norbert, he must have come in the pits. I wonder if he has got a wing now, so I wonder if he had to come into the pits. Didn't see any damage from him, but there is now, is that a virtual safety car? Yeah, virtual safety car. I'm assuming that was for Wardy. So Sheba, this is probably the closest battle on track. Still under virtual safety car conditions. So we'll jump on board with Sheba and watch it from his angle. Not Rishi is not far behind on the hard tyres either. DRS is enabled, which means we're racing again. And all the cars, whilst under virtual safety car, will be managed into a delta. So we're telling you not to arrive at a certain place in a certain period of time. And sometimes you can take a bit of advantage of that. If someone is being cautious on their delta versus you, you can make up some time. So, but I tell you what, Alex has pulled out a massive gap to Wazza. So Wazza must have been napping under the restart there, because he's pulled a second and a half out, and Alex is within a second of Bassett. So I wonder if the same thing's happened to him as Gunnar jumps in the pit. I wonder if he's had a bit of damage. So Sheba, I think, is probably the closest man on track, and I think he's pumping out some ERS to try and get some move done. He is side by side with Wazza, and I think Wazza's going to try and keep his nose in there to defend it. Sheba sort of gets nudged off the track, and he keeps his nose into the inside of the next corner, and Wazza keeps it round the outside and keeps his place. Great defending from Wazza, as he then has to brake a little bit harder, and Sheba just has to be careful not to pick up any damage to his nose there. And they've survived it, but good racing, good clean racing. Alex is starting to reel in Bassett, and Bassett's on the hard tyres, so wondering if he was just struggling to keep the heat in them whilst the virtual safety car was going. He's now got DRS. Can't see whether he's pumping out some ERS, which we know is quite overpowered on this game. But Stewart's driving off into the distance, and we'll want to try and build that gap, knowing that Bassett behind him is on the hard tyres. And I'll tell you what, Stewart could be in a brilliant position here, because if he can keep driving off the way he is right now, he could build a huge lead, because Bassett is there as a blocker for him, and he's just going to keep pushing the field backwards. As you can see, there's a big queue of cars now, so Bassett 3 seconds back. He's lost nearly half a second in that, just in the third sector really. Alex is now starting to put some pressure on, but sort of fakes a move around the outside. You've then got Wazza, who's a second, who's now within a second of Alex. You've got Sheba, who's 4 tenths back, Not Rishi, who's 7 tenths back, and then Nicky Lauda, all within DRS range. As Sheba is the first man to pick up a penalty. He does like a penalty. Does get very aggressive with his lines around the track, but Alex is now coming after Bassett and knows how important it's going to be to get this done. So his nose is in there, and they touch, and he spins. Don't think that's... don't think there's a... You can blame him. I think it's more of a racing incident. I think... And Not Rishi has really gained out of that. He's managed to propel himself up to 4th. So he picks up a place, but just going back to that incident we just saw a second ago, not really much in it for me. I think it's probably a racing incident. I think Alex, when he wasn't side by side, probably could have realised he wasn't going to get that move done, as Sheba's quite slow around the hairpin. I wonder if he's picked up some damage, Sheba. We saw him touch the back of Wazza earlier in the lap, or the previous lap. Wonder if he's just done a little bit of damage. But Bassett then, it gives him a bit of breathing space, but Wazza is starting to close that gap in quite quickly. He's 6 tenths back. Rishi gains out of that. I don't know if Sheba had to take some avoiding action and just gave Rishi the momentum to get past him, but he's up into 4th. And Stewart now 4.5 seconds away. He's really starting to drive away. Bassett's going to do a big job for Stewart here. As this train of cars at the front, I think anyone on the medium tyres is really going to want to get past Bassett. Rishi's not going to be too worried because he's also on the hard tyres, and then he's got a queue of people on medium tyres right behind him. I think it's probably a good chance to review who's been the biggest gainers since the start of the race. So we know Alex has dropped down quite a few places because we saw the spin actually a couple of laps ago, so a couple of drivers up 1 or 2 places. Nicky Lauda's gained quite a few, he's up 3. Rika, he's up into 11th, not quite in the points yet. Little Mikey's up 4 into 14th. Phoenix is up 3. Guna's the big loser, not sure what happened to him. We saw Wardy had an incident into turn sort of 2, that sort of area. I think that's what brought out the virtual safety car, so they're the people that have really lost out. And I think Dark Norbert is 24 seconds back of Man Like Donkey, so those 3 need a safety car really to bring them back into the race. So that's where we're at from the start of the race. We've still got Wazza 3 tenths back from Bassett, and going to apologise now. I'm probably sticking with the onboard cam because you get camera angles like this. It's not actually showing you too much, so probably will stick on board with them a little bit more than I would normally, just to make sure you can see as much of the action as possible. Rika, let's just jump backwards a little bit. Rika is right on the back of Robsu. Be interesting to know what his ERS is, but I don't tend to show it in case there's drivers watching the stream trying to get information. But Rika, from what I know of Rika, he likes to burn his ERS. He likes to use it quite heavily. So his light's not flashing right now though. So let's see if he can put a bit of a push on down this pit straight, put some pressure on. But generally, you just want to keep it close through this first little section and make your overtake down the first straight where you get DRS. And you can see he's just taking a wider line to try and get the run on Robsu. And you can see that he's just closing up now into this important section down the pit straight. So I can imagine that if Rika's got ERS left, he will be pushing that button now, and he'll want the inside line. This is where we saw Alex have that bit of a tap on Bassett, but he can't do it. And you can see that his light is now flashing. So does like to use his ERS, doesn't like to leave it in the tank. And there's pros and cons to working it both ways. If you don't use the ERS, you could be wasting it, because if the safety car comes out, everyone else is going to recharge back to 100. If you do use it, you could become a bit of a sitting duck, because it is really overpowered on this game, in my opinion. The DRS doesn't do a huge amount really, but if you use them both together, it's definitely a weapon to attack and defend. As Rika gets a bit deep, and did he push Robsu? Robsu doesn't look phased by it, but Rika definitely went deep into that corner. Don't know if he tapped him or not. Either way, they've both done well to keep out the wall, but we'll watch these four actually, quite close together. We'll watch this battle. Let's watch it from Marshmallow's angle, so we'll be able to see what's happening with all four of them. We'll watch this down the pit straight once more, and if they can't do it, we'll jump back up with Wazza. And Marshmallow is definitely not close enough. Rika looks pretty close. Let's just stick on and see if you can do it down this pit straight. And decides to take a bit of a tighter line this time. And he doesn't look quite as close to me this time. All about getting the power down now. Has he got enough? He's definitely got his ERS pumping, but again, look, you can see the light flashing. He's going to try and go around the outside, but good defending from Robsu. Blocks it out, and Robsu does go wide there, so they are going to go side by side, but Robsu's got the inside line, and again positions his car well to cover the move off from Rika. So again, good clean driving and some good defensive work from Robsu, who's just clinging on to that last championship point as long as he can. And Rika will be Rika's really going to want to get out of this, get off the back of Robsu here, as Alex looks like he's just made a move on Niki Lauda just at the start of sector 3, so he's back up into 6th place. Now hunting down Shiba, who's got a 3-second penalty. Wazza's still about 4 tenths back from Bassett, but interestingly Stewart hasn't managed to pull any further away from Bassett. It's still 4.5 seconds, so wonder if those medium tyres are just starting to drop off, but you'd say not, because Wazza's still there. And Bassett might just start pulling away from this group if those medium tyres, if they wear off anymore. And Rishi's also sat there on hard tyres as well. So Wazza now 3 tenths back. Oh, and he looks like he gets a bit out of shape. Does that help Rishi? Too far back, I think. So we're not going to see an overtake down here, but let's see if can Niki Lauda get back at Alex? Nope. Not on this occasion. As Felix makes a move further down the field on Kalitsus. And they're still fighting, I think. Let's join it quickly. Yeah, they're side by side. Felix is running out of ERS by the look of it and has to tuck back inside. Oh, but did he try and move down the inside there? I think he pulled out of it. So that was for 15th place. Kalitsos manages to do a job and defend it. joint back with Rika, who's still sat behind Robsu. And I think from memory, Robsu was on the hard tyres. Clicking the wrong menu. So Robsu will not be too disappointed holding Rika up on the mediums, because Robsu will come to life on those medium tyres a bit later on. So Rishi is ever closer to the back of Wazza now, so I think those medium tyres might just start to be suffering, which is now bringing the hard tyres back into it. Bassett hasn't made too many inroads, but probably because he's got a queue of cars behind him and he's having to defend it. So as Rishi very close to Wazza now, Robsu picks up a 3-second time penalty, which Robsu we'll have to see. And I think Rika has now decided to pit. It's probably not a bad idea. He's going to come out and try and undercut him. I think that's a sensible idea. He's gone on to hards though, interestingly. So I wonder if he'll try and go to the end of the race on those. I may have decided to go on to the mediums there just to pump in some quick laps and try and jump ahead. I think these hard tyres are extremely slow in comparison to the medium tyres. But when they start to drop off, obviously the hards will just go on that little bit longer. Haven't seen too much from Huss today. He's back in 9th, sort of running his own race. But keep an eye on him later. He will come to life when he puts on those medium tyres, promise you that. But yeah, when we've been running some tests, these hard tyres can be anything up to a second slow. As Rishi runs wide, doesn't get penalised for any sort of corner cutting or anything. I don't think he really gained anything from it. Must have took his foot off the accelerator. Knew that he'd just gone a bit deep, and he carries on. So Bassett 4.5 seconds from TGL Stewart still. He's just reeling him in ever so slowly. Wazza is not quite putting the same amount of pressure on him as maybe he was a few laps ago, but still within 4/10. Rishi managed to pull that gap after that little mistake in the third sector back to half a second on Wazza. Sheba with a 3-second penalty waiting in the wings as well, half a second back from Rishi, and Alex recovered after his spin. And we've got some more yellow flags, which is on the start-finish line. I think it's Felix. He's gone round on the start-finish line, and he's off racing again. So disappointing night for Felix so far. Didn't get to put a quali lap in. Now we're really struggling to make his way back up the field. You can see a bit of a difference in line there from Bassett and Wazza. And it looked like Wazza was a little bit quicker out of that section. We've got another yellow flag. It is a McLaren. Must be Arthanius, is it? Yeah, he's got going again. Hasn't lost any places from it, I don't think. So it doesn't bring out any safety cars. It's not too much to watch right now, as we seem to be watching this train of cars behind Bassett, who, again, like I said earlier, is just slowly reeling in Stewart. It's not doing anything that's going to worry Stewart. I assume Stewart would just be sat there saving up some airs, although has he made a bit of a mistake, because he's dropped a second just in those few corners, so wondering if he just got a bit twitchy. Just lost a little bit of time, but he's still got a buffer in there. And Rishi looks ever closer to Wazza here as Alex gets past Nicky Lauda. That must have been a bold move. That looked like it was round into the final bend. Or was it Sheba going into the pit? It may have been Sheba going into the pit, to be fair. As that promotes Huss. Sheba's gone in. He puts on the hards. I'll be interested to see if anyone wants to try a two-stop here. I'd like to see how quick that is, because, like I say, as Rishi tries to dummy the move, he's within 2/10, and if you look at that exit, looked pretty good, but wasn't enough to get hold of Wazza. And Wazza, you can see, is having to defend hard. He's got no ERS left, and Rishi, as I said to you in qualifying, he's very switched on. He knows how to save his ERS. He knows how to get people to make a mistake. So let's see if Wazza can keep his cool with the pressure of Rishi behind him. And his teammate, actually, Alex, is sort of dropping back a little bit. We've got some more yellow flags, and it looks like an Alpha Tauri this time. It's Kalitsus. So Man Like Donkey picks up a place from that spin. Wazza gets a 3-second time penalty. Didn't quite see it, but he was the car in front of Rishi that we're watching. So that could be costly at the end of the race, because this little group are very boxed in. And you can see that Stewart is being reeled in a little bit. Wonder if he'll take the decision to pit at some point. I think it's now. I think he's in. He is in. So he's fed up of those medium tyres. Be interesting to see what he comes in and takes. And he is the man that's going to try the two-stop. He's come back out on mediums. I think I like this call. Those medium tyres are a lot quicker than the hard tyres, but we've seen how hard it is to overtake on this track. So he's coming back out in 11th. And I'm going to make an assumption that he's going to come back out, try and get some overtaking done, as Alex has lost a position to Nicky Lauda. So these two have been going at it for a little while. Nicky Lauda up into 4th place. Remember, we've got Stewart who's just pitted, so may not be this. Although we know that Stewart definitely has to pit again, because he's run medium so far. So doesn't mean that he's not in 4th place, because we know Stewart will have to pit again. But you can see that Stewart has already started to pull in little Mikey on those new medium tyres, and as I was saying to you earlier today, like, you can pull nearly a second a lap out on these medium tyres. So in fact, let's watch Stewart. We haven't watched him too much because he's been out in front on his own. Let's get on board with him, because we're not seeing any overtakes from the front. Let's see how quickly he can reel in little Mikey, and how quickly can he do something about dispatching these 3 in front of him, because he's not going to want to get held up by them, because it may just hinder him later down the line. But if you can see that, because he had a 3-second gap, as Rishi does get past Wazza, because he's gone in the pit. So the big question now is, can Stewart get out in front of him, because Nicky Lauda's gone in the pit as well. So Alex stays out. He's doing another lap on those mediums. So Stewart definitely wants to get back out in front. You can see he just has to dip off the throttle here, because he's a little bit quicker than Mikey in front of him. And the guys are moving down the pit now, and you can see he's going to put it down the inside into turn 1. And Mikey keeps it cleanish. And Stewart gets through into 8th, because Wazza will come out behind him. He's now on the hard tyres, so Stewart really does have to get on with it. Wazza really was the guy that was behind him. Bassett was on the hards, will come out on the mediums, but we know Stewart's going to be a lot quicker. So I think at the end of the bridge section, he's going to want to be past at least one of these, really. So this is the problem with the two-stop. Have to be able to overtake people, and if we watch his launch out of here, he's going to try and take one already. That's a great move. He has to get it done, and we'll see if his teammate wants to let him through. You would hope that from an Alpine point of view, whoa, as Marshmallow punts Stewart, and you would hope that Robsu has let him go. So good teamwork there, and that now should be perfect for Stewart, because that now means that Waz has got to make his way. He's on fresh hard tyres, aren't as quick as what Stewart's on, so they could be the little buffer that Stewart needs. I think this two-stop's going to work for him now. He's been able to dispatch those two. He's got to catch Huss quite quickly, because Huss, he will make I think he'll go for a one-stop. Alex is now in, so it'd be interesting to see what he decides to take, but Stewart's definitely going to get out in front of Alex, 100%. I don't think he's been in and had his tyres changed yet. So Alex does come out on the hards, and I honestly think that Stewart's got this right. I think Stewart's made the right call. I think the only time that two-stop doesn't work is if you get caught in all that traffic and you can't make your way up the field. But you think now Stewart's now got Robsu, he's got Mikey, and then he's got Arthanius as a blocker. As long as they don't come in, I don't think they'll be scheduled to come in for another 3 or 4 laps yet. So Stewart's got 3 or 4 laps. Get his head down, try and catch RPM. I think he's already taken a second out of RPM this lap. I think that was a 6-second gap. Waz has got past little Mikey. So yeah, so Stewart's got to be looking at reducing that gap to Huss, Evan, and then Rishi and Bassett. Rishi and Bassett will come in probably in 2 or 3 laps time. They might even try and hang on for a safety car, and that could hurt Stewart. But if you look at it, he's not too far down the road. I think even with a safety car, I think he'll get through them. But you've got to remember that Stewart has to come in again. As Wazza and Robsu having a bit of a battle. Robsu gets back in front, and that's key for his teammate. That is key for Stewart. So his teammate's doing him an absolute favour today. See, just Stewart trying to be patient on that throttle pedal, and he's really starting to reel Huss in now. I think he's taken nearly 2 seconds out of him, and he's a 1:41.7. Great lap from Stewart. And let's get on. Sheba's quite close. He needs to make an overtake here because he's getting held up by Athanius, and he's got Nicky Lauda, and he's got Alex behind him. Alex has lost out big time in that pit stop. He's 3 seconds back from Nicky Lauda. I don't know what happened. I wonder if he had some wing damage maybe and had to get his front wing changed. Not too sure, but Rishi looks like he's putting a bit of pressure on from the front. As Wazza now does make it past Robsu. I'm not sure if he'll make it stick this time, but this is the fight for the lead of the race currently. And they're pulling away from Evan in 3rd place. Rishi really starting to put some pressure on. I think he just got a bit slippery out of that corner. But really big shout out to Robsu there. He's done his teammate a huge favour. You can see it's nearly a 7-second gap. Stewart's on the faster tyre. And still a couple more laps for these hard runners, I think. I think they've got to go another couple of laps before they can come in. 12 laps really is where the medium starts to fall off a bit. But Stewart's now within a second and gaining quite quickly. So let's watch him. And you would think that he'll be able to dispatch Huss. Probably not down the pit straight, maybe the second, but did see him make a move earlier on little Mikey down the pit straight. So it's all going to be about his exit. And Rishi is getting closer to Bassett, but we'll stick with this little battle first. As he runs a tiny bit wide, so that might just stop him from making a move here. I think he might be wise to wait, and he does. Good decision. Do it down the next straight where you know you're going to get a good launch, and you've got a lot more room to make it happen. But Rishi, let's jump on board with him. He's getting very close. Probably not going to overtake down here, so back on with Stewart. Wings open. Huss, I don't think he's going to defend that too hard. I think he knows that Stewart's going to come through. He's on the quicker tyre. Stewart has got no ERS left though, interestingly, so he knows he's got to get on with it. He's got 4 seconds to go now to try and catch Evan. 5 seconds, sorry. But again, look, you can see just through that corner, 2 tenths taken off already. Another 10th gone, and there's some yellow flags, but it looks like he's going against one of the McLarens. But look at that, just while I've been talking, 4 tenths he's taken out of Evan already. And Rishi's getting closer again. Just don't think he quite has a straight line speed to get him really. But if we think about this then, so about 15 seconds covers Stewart's 15 seconds back of Rishi. So I think even if the safety car comes out, I think Stewart will get back out in front of them. Soft tyres will last probably 5 laps. Bassett has pulled into the pits, so he's the first man to pull the trigger, and that will be 13 laps on those medium tyres that he's going to have to run to the end. So we'll see how he gets on with that. One of the McLaren's in the pits, Marshmallow. So Rishi's now been released off into the lead. He was my prediction for the start of the day. Probably harsh on Stewart, to be honest, because he's been fantastic at the start of this year. And I think it's just Bassett still is the only man to pit, and Wazza gets through. So Bassett's got some work to do to get some of those positions back. But I think if Stewart can keep up the pace he's got now, he's already taken 2.5 seconds in one lap out of Evan. And you can see Evan. I think if he can keep that pace up for another couple of laps, you'd think that he is in a great position. I mean, Wazza's not too far behind him now, 6 seconds. So those soft tyres are going to have to be brutally good for him to win the race. But against some hard tyres that are running off, well, let's see how it unfolds. It's going to be an interesting finish as we've got his teammate Alex round. Unfortunate for him, made a couple of mistakes tonight after being on pole position. Really looking full of confidence, but the race has not been his best day out. So Stewart now within a second of the car in front. Not the first time we've said it tonight. He's the man getting the overtakes done because he's on the quicker tyre. He's going for a more aggressive two-stop strategy. The only man on the track that I've noticed that's doing it, and I like it. I like the strategy. I think it might be hard for him to win the race, but we'll see. As there's a McLaren round again, Marshmallow DNF. I wonder if he did he do that himself, or and it has caused the safety car. So did Stewart go in? He didn't. Interesting. But that's horrible for Evan. Evan's going to lose out big time here. You can see Rishi's dived in. Sheba's going to go through on his hard tyres because he can get to the end of the race. Bassett's going to go through because he's just pitted. Huss is in for his mediums. This is horrific for Stewart because he has to pit. He's only used medium compound. So the only thing... Evan's in trouble here as well because Evan's in big trouble because he's got to pit. And a lot of these people are going to catch. He's going to lose a lot of places. That's a big blow for Evan. It just came out at the wrong time. And Stewart's going to lose, and it might. I mean, I'm going to say I predicted it, but Rishi is probably then your net leader of this race. She was behind him on the hard tyres. Bassett on the mediums. So Rika's going to try and go to the end on them, I can tell you that now. He went in early, got on the hards, and he's just going to try and maintain as many positions as he can. It'll be interesting to see if he lets his teammate through. Can't imagine he will. I think he'll want to fight that. Wazza came in for some new medium tyres to make sure he was quick at the end. I've got my race tomorrow now, so I'm just deciding whether the two-stop is sensible, because that's really ruined Stewart's race. He can't even come in yet because softs aren't going to get him to the end. The hard tyre's too slow, so he's just going to have to stay out. The problem is Rishi's not going to lose him, I don't think. Rishi will be able to keep up with him, and Evan's going to have to pit. And I think Evan's going to have to do it now. He'll lose too much time if he doesn't do it behind the safety car. And he's already lost a lot of time. Oh, Evan's been disqualified for ignoring yellows. He was just coming in the pits. Oh, I'm not sure about that. There's not a lot we're going to be able to do about that, I don't think. That is gutting for Evan. I mean, he was just coming in the pit. He was in the lead of the race. He couldn't have been overtaking anyone. I have no idea what that was about. Well, just trying to find out what happened to Evan. Don't think he's happy about it, and I don't blame him because he didn't look like he did anything wrong. The game's just suggesting he ignored yellows and put him out of the race. Okay, not a lot we can do about Evan now. Doesn't seem like it was a good call from the game. But there's not a lot we can do about it. We'll stick on board with who we've got left. Stuart will take over control of the restart. And I think the best he can hope for now is that Sheba holds everyone up with those 8-lap-old hard tyres. I don't think he's going to be able to get away from Rishi, to be honest. And then somehow come in, get the soft tyres and try and bring back as many places as possible. So now how quick he is in comparison to those people that were on the hard, so the soft tyres late on might work in his favour, and Rishi starts to put some pressure on early. When is Stuart going to go? Probably about now. No, is he going to wait? Yeah, he doesn't want to get slipstreamed into the final corner. He's going to have to go any second now though. He's going to have to go any second now. Here he goes. Rishi couldn't quite get on the power in time, but look at that, Bassett already on the back of Sheba. Sheba needed to be the blocker for Stuart, and Bassett's already nicked a place from him. So Bassett going to fight for the lead of the race now then, as we've got a bit of a mess going on a bit further down the field. Lots of overtaking going on, I think, but no one's round. Oh, there is someone round, and it's Man Like Donkey, I think. So is Rishi going to put some pressure on Stuart? Stuart's on 8-lap-old mediums. Rishi's on 2 laps, but again they were all behind the safety car, so they're fresh. And Rishi already on the back of Stuart. It's hard luck for Stuart so far in this race. That safety car timing was not good. So Stuart from Rishi from Bassett, who got past Sheba at the restart. Sheba's already detached by a second. I think these 3 drivers are going to be the ones to watch for the win, as it looks like Wazza back there. Is he making a move? Trying to make a move on Ricky's and pushing him around the track, and he's going to try and do it through braking. Does well to keep away from Rika, but Rika getting very aggressive with his defence. And Wazza does really well to keep his nose in. Rika trying to keep his nose in there, but brilliant move from Wazza, and that's now put Alex side by side with Rika. That's not the place to overtake, I don't think. Be a bit more patient, Alex. You're not going to get past through there, but what a move from Wazza. Glad we jumped on board with that. And Huss is all over the back of Nicky Lauda, and he's going to make a move into turn 1. He will get the inside line into turn 2, but Nicky Lauda doesn't let him bully him. It just keeps the place. And then Wazza will be looking to join the back of that group as well. So Nicky Lauda, 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. So although it's a street circuit, it's very easy to pick up penalties around here. 2 cars in the pits. Safanius and Man Like Donkey. Saw Man Like Donkey did have a spin on the restart. As Wazza now having a look at RPM and just getting a bit untidy around there. Just needs to be patient. Clearly got the ability to get past people. So don't take any unnecessary risks, as Alex is now having a look at Rika. Rika really struggling on these hard tyres. I mean, they're 12 laps old, to be fair to him. But it looks like he's going to get swallowed up by these medium runners. The hard tyres are slow, and there's 2 people trying to make a move on him. Alex is getting pushed to the outside, and Rika's been pushed into the barrier. And Kalitsis manages to get through. I think he was the other person putting Robsu putting pressure on him now. So it just caused a bit of a mess, that little incident, and it's brought Guna back into the equation. He's up into 11th. Dark Norbert is up into the top 10. He just gets a 3-second penalty, as I mentioned his name. So Kalitsis has got 2.5 seconds to make up to Wazza, who we saw made a very good move early on was Rika, I think. DRS is now enabled. There's a spinner who's out of Dark Norbert. Had a bad half a lap since I mentioned his name. Sorry, mate. He's spun it and he's dropped back down into 14th, probably even more by the time he gets going again. Rika is in the pits, he's putting on softs. I think 8 laps is crossing your fingers a little bit, and RPM looks like he's close to Nicky Lauda. Not the first time we've seen Nicky Lauda in a battle, but RPM gets his nose in front. Nicky Lauda loves to keep his nose in there to try and defend that place back, but Huss has got the job done. And he is up into 5th, so good race from him so far. He's got himself back into the mix and getting himself a good haul of points. Waz is putting some pressure on Nicky Lauda now. Up into 7th in his Ferrari. Got some dodgy camera angles here. But we're seeing the overtakes looking at his rear tyres. I wonder if Rishi will know that Stewart has to pit again. As Rika's dropped down a position with those soft tyres on, not sure why. We're going to stick on board with this little battle. As we've seen Wazza make a good move already through this sector 3. Should be a bit more patient this time. So Huss at the minute is sitting in P4 really because of the Shiba penalty. But there's a 2-second gap from Shiba up to Bassett. So Huss needs to try and get past him as quickly as possible, and then try and join that battle for the front place. But Stewart really, as I said before, really has been destroyed by that safety car. He's going to have to pit again. He's the only man really trying a 2-stop, and the safety car is just at a bad time. But I think Dark Norbert's gone round again, and Waz is going to put a move on Nicky Lauda as he got past here earlier in the previous lap. And Nicky Lauda drops down to 7th, Wazza up into 6th, so making some good gains through the field. He decided to pit again because he could stick on a fresh set of mediums and get to the end. Dump those hard tyres. I think it was a good shout. He's back up into 6th, and it's clearly showing he's got the pace to get up there. And Dark Norbert, I think, is he struggling? Yeah, he's struggling. Don't know if he's just overheated those tyres and is now struggling to get back on. But let's just jump back. Rika goes past him. So haven't missed anything there. Guna up into the points. Him and Robsu have had battles in the past. And is Guna going to try and chuck one down the inside of him here? He tries, but make sure he doesn't make contact. Couldn't quite get the move done. Nice guy, Guna. Just supports a rubbish football team, but we can let him off. As he's still putting some pressure on Robsu. As TJL Stewart is now in the pits. Is he going in for those soft tyres? 6 laps, he thinks. And look, he's dropped it outside the top 10, and it's probably going to get worse. So he's got some serious racing to do. I'll be very surprised if he gets anywhere near the top 7, if I'm honest. 6 laps, that's asking an awful lot. Dark Norbert's retired. Where's he retired? Is that a safety car? Because if that's a safety car, Stewart might just have been saved. And full yellows now. Is that a virtual? Just jump on board with someone, see if we can see it on the boards. It is virtual. I think Stewart would have been hoping for a full safety car. I think he's behind Felix. So a few penalties to talk about. As actually Huss has dropped back. Didn't see that. Must have made a mistake. However, I think he will end up coming third currently with the 3-second pens, because I think he's within 3 seconds of all of those drivers. So although he's dropped back, he's still actually sitting in third with the penalties in play. So virtual safety car still going round. Dark Norbert leaves the session. And we're green. DRS is enabled. Robsu is very close to the back of Kalitsos. I'm assuming he has lost out under his Delta. Guna's trying to have a look at Robsu as well. But I think Guna will sit back and try and watch this battle unfold. As someone's gone round. Is it Huss? It is Huss. Oh dear. He was looking so good for a podium. And it's just made a mistake. It's unlike him. Don't see him make many mistakes. But let's jump up here with Nicky Lauda. He looks very close to the back of Wazza. He's had a lot of action down into this section. And look at that. Pull side by side with Wazza. Wazza's got the faster tyre, but Nicky Lauda, it's great driving from both of them. Good clean racing. Wazza just about manages to keep the position. I think we've seen Wazza struggle under sort of virtual safety cars. Might be a little bit nervous, maybe been disqualified in the past. Nicky Lauda tries to get the run on Wazza there and ends up clipping him. But Wazza keeps the position. Maybe a brave move, who's to chuck it on down the inside there. You can see Nicky Lauda burnt all his ERS now. So if he does get in front, Wazza will probably have the advantage in the fact that he can push his little button, deploy some extra horsepower. And Nicky Lauda likes to be very active on the track and try and put the driver off in front. Rishi puts in the fastest lap of the race. He's taken over the lead of the race, and he was my prediction. As Wazza comes into the pit, I have absolutely no idea why. I wonder if he's picked up some damage, and that's why Nicky Lauda was all over the back of him. And Guna's now making a move. And I've got no good camera angle, but he makes a move, and he's up into 6th out of absolutely nowhere. So well done to Guna. TJL Stewart, unsurprisingly, puts in the fastest lap, and he's getting closer and closer to the points. He's battling Felix, I think. Oh, and he spun. No. I wonder if him and Felix had to come in together. We'll find out later in the race, but Guna, quality race from him, up into 6th place. Wardy now puts in the fastest lap on his soft tyres. Robsu's done a brilliant job actually to get back up into 5th as well, and Guna actually currently sat technically in P5, and if he can just draw back in Nicky Lauda, could get P4. I think. No, sorry. He is actually close enough to Nicky Lauda. If he can get close enough to Sheba, and now Huss gets done for crossing the white line on the pit entry. But Guda's got a chance of a podium if he can push Nicky Lauda down the road a little bit, and Robsu. So big incentive for Guna then. Clear Robsu, get after Nicky Lauda. See if you can take down a podium. And then really these two at the front, not really seeing them too much. Bassett struggling with ERS. Rishi looked into command ever since TJL Stewart had to get out of the way to pit. Again, strategy just letting TJL Stewart down really. But Rishi has taken full advantage, and he was my pick of the drivers today to win. So 3 more laps, can he get it done? We'll find out. Guna's ever closer to Robsu. And a quote from the man himself: he drives to survive. And he picks up points doing it. He picks up championships doing it. And that's the difference between him and No Jug. Alex, oh, is he going to make a late move? He's not. But he did spook Kalitsos there, I think. He ran a little bit wide. But if you look, Alex is also going to pick up a few places because of penalties. So his penalties are going to be costly by the end of the race. And Wazza looks quite close to Arthanios. They were side by side. Is he going to make a late move? He's got some ERS, don't know if he's using it. Not going to be close enough. Just chuck it up the inside. Felix just clinging on to that last points place. Never really looked in the fight really, but has fought his way back into the points. And Alex and then Guna are probably the closest people on track to each other, and Wazza now does get it done. Down into that tunnel section, so he's made some ballsy moves today, Wazza. But I wonder if he picked up some wing damage, because it was a very weird pit stop and a very weird time to pit stop, considering the points he would have had. So I'm assuming he picked up damage somewhere, because he did have a guy on hards right up behind him. And is Wazza going to make another move down here? He made a very nice move down here earlier today, but no, he pulls out of it. But he is pushing Reaper along, and Guna is very close to Robsu now. The next straight, I think the next straight, has he got ERS? He has. So has Robsu though. You see his wing opens. He's got his ERS pumping. He's going to go around the outside, which will become the inside for the next corner. But again, Guna, like I said to you before, drive to survive. Doesn't want to take any risks. So he's got a good haul of points here. He knows that Robsu is going to drop a place to him, but the only issue is that it's pushing Nicky Lauda further away from him, and it's getting Kalitsos right up behind him as well. So does need to put some pressure on Robsu, and does need to try and get through him really. But yeah, been a solid drive from Guna. And then, oh, you can see that Alex has just gone round there and hit the wall. Has he done damage to the wing? Got no good camera angle again. Kalitsos is gone. Let's see if Alex can... yeah, look. He's just gone... hit the barrier and sort of gone straight on. Don't know how he's done that. Has it? Is it too late? I think it's too late for a safety car. So they will continue to race. So that takes a bit of pressure off Guna. And little Mikey up into 7th. I did not see that. And TJ Stewart's made his way back into the points, but I'm assuming those soft tyres are probably dead by now. But yeah, look, I think he went for a very aggressive strategy. One I was gonna use tomorrow, but I think Stewart's probably put me off now. But I like the move, I like the try. Just the safety car came at the wrong time. And is that Felix on Lil Mikey? It is. No, it's on Alex. Sorry. So Felix up to 8th, and again, seemed nowhere in the race, and he's pulled himself up to get some points. So good comeback from Felix, and he spun early on in the race, and Guna still putting pressure on Robsu, but just can't find the position to make it. And Robsu does keep running wide at that corner. He's got to be careful, because he might just pick up another penalty, and that might just drop him behind little Mikey then. So he's just got to be careful about running wide there. And I think Guna might be better off just hanging behind him now, because I don't think, even if he gets past him now, I don't think he's going to be close enough to nick the place off Nicky Lauda. As Alex and Stewart are battling, I think, and Stewart's gone round again. It's not the first time those two have come together this season. We missed it. I'm sure we'll hear about it in the stewards' room after the race. Couple of spins for Stewart, but that's because he put himself on an aggressive strategy. His teammate did his best for him to try and hold up the field, but safety car just came out at the wrong time for Stewart. But we're on the final lap. Rishi is going over the line now with Bassett, and he has made the one stop work. Took over the lead of the race since the safety car. And is he celebrating already? Or is he... I mean, surely he's not warming his tyres up. Rika and Stewart are in a bit of a tussle. Stewart's going backwards by the look of it. Wardy's now snuck into the top 10. Guna's ever closer to Guna again. Guna to Robsu, sorry. And Guna is just not going to take any risks, I don't think. He's not going to catch Nicky Lauda in front, so I think he just sits there and sucks up that he's going to get 5th from Robsu. So Good drive. Can't imagine he will take any risks now to the end of the race, and everyone else seems pretty spaced out. So Rishi getting reeled in by Bassett, but I'm assuming he's not going to go overtake him. I'm assuming he's just taking his time, and you can see him weaving earlier. I don't know whether that's a good race, Bassett, but don't count your chickens, mate, before you're over the line. But you're welcome. I predicted you at the start of the race, but to be fair, you're a class driver, you've got a good race head on your shoulders, and you're going to come through and take your first win of the season in Div 3 as a reserve driver. Well done, Rishi. Over the line he goes. Bassett in second. Good drive from Bassett as well. And then Sheba's going to come over in third place. Nicky Lauder's right behind him though, so Nicky Lauder will get the third place. Sheba will take fourth. And there's been the race behind Robsu and Guna. Robsu is going to come over in fifth, but will take seventh, I think, because Guna's going to jump him. I think little Mikey's going to jump him. No, he didn't. So Robsu keeps sixth. Felix comes over in eighth after being absolutely nowhere. Good drive from him to get back into it. And Alex, well, disappointed again. I think he's had a couple of races this year where he could really have had more points and doesn't take advantage. And Wardy, again with a good recovery drive, just going to pick up the last point. Rika took on a bit of a risky strategy, didn't play off, and TGL Stewart, I'm going to say commiserations to you. You had a as Huss has DNF just before the line. It's not going to make any difference to the points, but TGL Stewart went for a two-stop strategy, just got done over by the safety car coming out at the wrong time. There's Huss's car. So unfortunate for Stewart. Man like Donkey coming over in 13th. We'll then have Wazoo, who's had a brilliant race. And then Thanios, the last finisher. So, well done to Rishi. The reserve driver's had a solid race. Hasn't really made any mistakes to talk of. Just kept his car in the right place at the right time, took the victory. I think there's quite a few people that could be pushing for driver of the race today, so feel like I'm going to need to have a think about it. I mean, I've thoroughly enjoyed Waz's overtaking. Thought it was very clean. Some very good overtakes in there. Richie's masterclass at the front. Took control of the race. Safety cars helped him, but that's part of racing. Bassett with a solid drive as well. Newly into the perm seat. And I think it was it Sheba that got third in the end? It was. Yeah, Sheba kept his third place. Guna's had a solid drive. Came down from quite a low qualifying, I think. Started in 8th. Finished 5th. Robsu again had a good drive. Started in 12th. Came 6th. Little Mikey had a brilliant drive. 18th to 7th. He could well be in with a shout. And Felix, after having trouble at the start of the race, comes 8th. Alex K in 9th. Wardy in 10th. And then, again, like I said to you before, I think TJ Stewart will be very disappointed that his strategy didn't work, but didn't put a foot wrong today, if I'm honest. Wazza had a great race. But again, just I think had to pit. I think he got a bit of damage. Huss was unlucky. He was right up there. Made a mistake or got a tap. I don't know which. But again, we'll be disappointed. He shouldn't be down there. Should be much higher up in the field. Evan will be very disappointed. The game disqualified him and very unfairly, I think. And then Marshmallow and Dark Norbert with the others not to finish. Kalitsos also, you could see, went out of the race quite late on. Be disappointed not to finish, but another great race from Division 3. I'm going to go and have a think about who I would rate my driver of the day. Well done, Rishi. You were my pick of the drivers for today. I thought you had the class to win it. Showed you did. Bit of luck from the safety car, but you have to be there to win it. So well done to you. Well done, Bassett and Sheba, for being on the podium. See you in a couple of weeks now. Winter break. Have a good Christmas and New Year, everyone. And we should have some Nation Cup action going on over the holidays to keep you guys entertained. So tune in. See who can be the DTR World Cup winners. But for now, goodbye.